Tonight, I believe the owner of the Perch is here, and his attorney, and they'll probably want to address the council. The Perch is here is requesting a letter from the city council allowing them to sell beer and wine within 300 feet of a school. Under Idaho Code 231011B and Idaho Code 231307A, it prohibits any business from selling beer or wine for on-premises consumption within 300 feet of any church, school, or any other place or of worship unless the city council approves the waiver of the requirement. The Perch is located within 300 feet on the University of Idaho campus, within 300 feet of two religious establishments. There's the Church of Latter-day Saints. The Institute, or I think they call it the Institute, is located on Deacon Street. And then right across the way there's the Campus Christian Center. ABC, the alcohol and beverage control for the state of Idaho, has informed the applicant that such city council approval is required prior to the issuance of the license by the state of Idaho. The applicant has represented that he is remodeling the Perch to add the required kitchen facilities to be able to operate as a restaurant. In order to meet the ABC definition of a restaurant, and they're eligible for the endorsement for issuance of the license for on-site consumption of beer or wine, the business must derive 40% of its revenue from the direct sales of food. The applicant for the ABC restaurant endorsement must affirmatively declare that the business meets the food sales requirement. And if ABC grants the permit, then the Perch would have a period of time in which to establish the fact that at least 40% of its revenues are derived from restaurant food sales. Just a little background, the Perch is located in a neighborhood business zone in the city of Moscow. And in that zone, restaurants are permitted in the neighborhood zone, while bars are prohibited. Restaurants with an endorsement from ABC, a county license, and a city and beer wine license may sell beer and wine for on-site consumption. The Perch has operated as a convenience store for many years, selling grocery items, including packaged beer and wine for off-site consumption. A few years ago, I believe there was an owner in there that expanded that and started selling wine, or selling sandwiches, deli sandwiches, and I think he somehow got a beer or wine license in there. I don't think we looked into it or knew that the 300 feet requirement was at that time. And in 2013, the prior owner started this remodel as a restaurant. He had been operating for a little while and was discovered it was basically being run as a bar because it was excluding people under 21. They decided that they were going to remodel to try to meet the definition of a restaurant and sell food items. They were given an opportunity to do that last year. ABC informed me that they were doing an investigation to see whether that business met the 40% food sales requirement in order to keep its endorsement. ABC represented to me that they didn't believe that the prior owner was operating in good faith as a restaurant, and we're in the process of going to revoke the restaurant endorsement. The prior owner has apparently given up the business, and there's a new owner of the business, Mr. Singh, who will be here, or his attorney, to speak to City Council. So what they're here today is to ask for a waiver or approval of the City of Moscow so that they can sell beer or wine in their establishment. And I believe that Dave Lemons is here, and there's also probably somebody from the Church of Latter-day Saints Institute that's also here that would like to address the council.
Okay, well, first off, council got questions for Rod before we get anybody else up here. You guys got questions for Rod? John?
I want to make sure I understand this. The license to sell on-premise is what we're talking about here, not the license to sell off-premise.
Correct. And we're talking about a waiver.
So if they get a waiver, that means that if they can prove 40% or better sales from food, then they can sell on-premise.
Correct.
If they cannot, they can still sell off-premise.
Well, they would have to change to get a different license for that, but they could operate as a convenience store and for packaged alcohol for off-site consumption, as they've done in the past.
Wayne?
Well, then follow up on John's question. If they receive a license for sale on premise, then are they then precluded from selling selling so they can take it for off-premise use?
No, I believe that they can get a license to do that also.
Either way.
But that would be for off-site consumption, so people could, I think they had one operate as a convenience store, or with an endorsement, they were selling growlers, I believe, too, also for off-site consumption prior.
Other questions for Rod? Tom?
I was just going to point out, Mr. Mayor, that we had this issue before us at Administrative Committee last week.
Okay.
We did not have the presence of the owner, and we did not have any proof that the conditions were being met with respect to sales, so it left our committee with no recommendation.
Okay. Well, let's listen to this. Somebody over here, Gary.
Your Honor, I just wanted to point out, as Rod indicated, that state code prohibits the issuance of a license for on-site consumption sales within 300 feet of a school, church, or place of worship. The only exception is if the city council, in its discretion, issues a letter or an approval of that, in fact, waiving that provision. So it is an exception. The rule is that it may not be allowed.
Okay. Well, let's hear from the applicant. Would the applicant like to address us, please? Mr. Singh? I hope I pronounced that correct.
Counsel, if I might, I'm Scott Chapman. I'm an attorney from Lewis and Idaho. I'm representing Mr. Singh.
Okay.
If I could have some time to address some of these issues, I'd appreciate it.
Okay.
And I'm certain that many of you are aware of the history of this facility. It's a Perch, and it's been situated in the, not the middle, but inside the University of Idaho campus for some long time. It was there when I went to law school in the early 80s. It had been there for some time prior to that. It's our position that the history of this facility has been, from at least the 60s to early 70s, the sale of by-the-drink alcohol, and also as being run as a convenience store. When Mr. Singh's predecessor took this over, it was with the idea that it would be worked into increased, the food sales would be increased to a point where it would fit this 40% requirement. It was virtually nothing at the time that he took it over. With the addition of a microwave oven and a hot dog oven, he had the sales up to somewhere in the neighborhood of 30% sales. I take some, question as to what the situation of this investigation is, because it's our understanding that the investigation never occurred because of this transfer of the business, and so we don't know exactly what the results of that were. I have some documentation, some of which I don't have extra copies of, and some I do, for the council, if I might. Kind of setting out where we are at with this thing, and the state, as well as our efforts to change this. Mr. Singh has obtained...
Mr. Chapman, I need you to speak in the microphone so this can be recorded. Thank you.
Mr. Singh has obtained or is working on bids for the addition of a full kitchen into this facility. And I have the bid outputs from that. I also have what he has prepared or anticipates to be his full menu for this, along with the floor plan. I don't have extra copies of that, so if I could, I'll just leave those up here.
We have a menu, is in the packet. We have
it
that,
was?
so we do not need that.
Okay.
Floor plan is
And the
too.
floor plan, too.
And the floor plan as well.
Then I won't need to do that. If I won't say anything if I could step away, please.
I'm just, certainly, you can step out. You just,
No, you need to
we
address
record
me.
this
He's
by
just-
video.
He's just the guy helping run the...
You may approach.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
it appears to me to be maybe some misunderstanding about what the status of this is. At this juncture, I don't believe that Mr. Singh has applied for any type of license from the city of Moscow. He has applied for a license from the state, and as a part of that, thought at one point that he needed to obtain this waiver that was referred to. Now, I'm not certain about what the status of that is, but as we go through these materials, I'll point out to you that the state has issued him his license without the waiver referred to in the agenda. They asked about, in the first page of this, they asked about the transfer. That was done. The second page is the temporary license which has been issued to the Perch Inc., which is owned by Mr. Singh. You will note that it does not have a liquor approval, but does have the restaurant approval on it. The reason for the temporary license was set out on the third page, which is the application is being held pending receipt of the following. And what they asked for was a completed affidavit from Mr. Iqbal, the previous owner, in the name of the applicant, Perch Inc. That's all they asked for. They didn't say they needed a waiver. They didn't say they needed anything more. That application with the, or that affidavit with the correct name was faxed to the state on today's date. The statute in question does pretty much state, as Mr. Hall had indicated, that requires the 300-foot measurement. I guess I have a couple of questions about that, and the first is if in fact the LDS facility is a church, and if in fact the Christian Center at the university is a church, as the statute defines those materials. It's our understanding that...
Are you suggesting they're not?
I'm suggesting that worship isn't going on at that facility, that they're having meetings, et cetera, there, but that worship isn't going on.
Well, we won't get into a definition of what would constitute a church, whether it's a meeting or a Sunday ceremony or whatever, because I think that's irrelevant. But what we will do is what we're doing here is my understanding the council is going to determine whether they want to waive a letter or have a letter that would waive the requirement. Is that my understanding, Gary?
Yeah, I think as Rod indicated that, I think Mr. Chapman brings up a good point, a legalistic point, whether or not worship is occurring or these two institutions are in fact churches. But I think that under the common understanding, I would presume that we would presume they were churches until it is proven that they are not. I don't think it's the council's place to determine whether or not these are houses of worship. They hold themselves out to be a church. Lieutenant Lemons interviewed Mr. Jenkins from the LDS Institute and indicated that they meet that definition. So,
let me ask, is there somebody on the audience from the LDS Church here? Okay, well, we'll get you up here in a little bit as soon as Mr. Chapman's done, okay?
Anyway, as I'd indicated, I think that despite Mr. Riedner's comments that there is an issue regarding that, I think there is an issue perhaps regarding the distance. Again, this facility has been operated as a convenience store / beer place by the drink for years and years and years. And what Mr. Singh is attempting to do here is to seek an opportunity to, I guess, upgrade that to make it into something more than just a bar to hang out at. As I said, you can see the efforts are going to be made into putting a full-bore kitchen, which has never existed there before, and to ensure that, in fact, that the food sales meet the 40% requirement. I do think that there is the ability to do this, if you will, provisionally, so that he would have the opportunity to have period of time to establish that in fact his food sales were at the point of requirement for the 40%.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. Chapman. We'd like, do you have a question?
Question for
Okay.
Mr. Chapman. I'm a little confused. Mr. Chapman, you seem to be saying that they have a license, that it's good until August the 16th of 2014, that it's pending some paperwork, my word, to establish the name or something like that. So far, correct so far?
Correct.
So why are you here?
Well, I'm here because I read the agenda for tonight's meeting, and I could not tell exactly what this council was going to do or not do regarding the Perch. Mr. Singh has not applied for a city license at this point. The only thing that was out there was this waiver. It's my understanding that he came in and last week and said, I don't need the waiver anymore, and was told that this meeting was going to go ahead, and then I got on the internet, looked at the agenda, and I couldn't tell if this meeting was going to be specific to they were going to issue that waiver or not, period, end of story, or if it was going to be broader than that.
Rod, would you like to address that?
Yes.